I've always wanted to be an astronaut, you know, ever since I was a kid.
He was such a persistent child. I knew if anyone could be an astronaut, he could.
He became a hero. Everybody in the world was fixated on him. I would have never guessed that becoming a hero would ruin my life.
We've just got word that he's entered Mars's atmosphere. That's right, mankind just set foot on Mars. How's that for a small step, Neil? First man, stripped of Medal of Honor, Ward 11. Did you ever foresee this getting out?
No, I forgot all about it really, so that's how I got into this position in the first place.
That makes sense. You did have a lot going on at the time. Starting a new family, a new job.
Being the first man on Mars? Yeah.
I remember we were packing when he got the phone call. He got all quiet, but I could tell by the look on his face that it was good news. When he hung up the phone, he turned and looked at me and smiled with tears in his eyes and said, "They want me. I'm going to Mars." I was happy. Thrilled, really. But at the same time, we had just started a family. We were moving. And he was just going to leave us for some rock and space. I couldn't help but feel a little bit abandoned.
Yeah, she was supportive. She was also disappointed, which was, I mean, who could blame her? I was gonna miss the birth of our son and leave her alone for the first few years. He called me up at like 3 in the morning, just drunk off his ass, and I going on and on about abandoning his wife. I remember I said to him, I'm like, "Man, you're gonna be the first guy on Mars. You can have any woman you want when you get back." And he just mumbled something and hung up.
I always told him it was a mistake to get married. I told him if he was going to be an astronaut, have space be his wife.
I should have tried a little harder to balance work and life, but I was pretty cocky back then. I mean, I was going to Mars. I was gonna be the first guy on Mars. I figured if I could do that, I could keep a marriage intact.
You think the attitude of cockiness led to everything that came later?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So when did you realize things were really heading south? Or were you aware at all?
Yeah, I see it now, but back then, no, I didn't even see the signs. I do remember getting a letter or a notice of some sort and just tossing it, figuring I'd take care of it later. I mean, I had interviews to do, I had people to meet, I had training. I was just so busy. It was the last thing on my mind.
So throwing away that notice is how it all came crashing down then?
No. But before all that, there was a ton of downtime in between training, so I checked a book out to read.
I remember the book he checked out. The Duck Goes to Space. It was his favorite when he was a kid.
I know it would have made more sense given the circumstances to get like an ebook or an audio book, but I need to feel the pages turn. I'm a traditionalist that way.
Disgraced astronaut Conroy Powers heading to court today. Racked with overdue fines, Marsman's wife walks out. Listen, all I'm saying is the duck may have gone to space, but it never returned. Where is it? Where is it? I don't know. I don't see it.
He was always such a good patron before. I think that's why him losing the book hurt so much.
It had to have been misplaced during the move. It's the only thing I can think of. I remember putting it on the front table and telling my wife to return it.
I remember that, yeah. But I ended up loaning it to a friend who was going to the library later that week anyway.
She would always be like, "He's here to borrow a book," whenever I came over, and I'm pretty sure it was just a way to protect her son from the fact that her marriage was falling apart. Yeah, Oh, Uncle Jack read a lot back then.
When I was walking in to see my grandson, some filthy-looking man came stumbling out of the house holding the book. Of course, I was told he came over to borrow that book, but I knew something more was going on.
Yeah, it was the book they said he lost. Some kid's book. I tried to reach out to the press or the courts. It was the least I could do was to help him clear some stupid fines. I mean, his wife and his kid just walked out, and but nobody listened to me. I guess I wasn't a juicy enough topic.
I thought about saying that it was my fault that the book was missing. But then I thought about Otis. At the time, custody was surefire for me, and I was thinking about him. I mean, what if Conroy needed to go into outer space again? Otis needed steadiness, so I kept my mouth shut.
No, I don't think she did anything out of spite. She's a good person.
So can I just ask why you didn't pay off the fine? I mean, let's be real. You had to be making a lot of money back then, especially with that action figure deal.
Have you ever gotten a divorce? It's expensive to begin with, and now picture all that, but doing it from space. No, NASA was not happy with us using communications for lawyers. But by the time I got back, I was ready to file bankruptcy.
I was asked about waiving the fines a few times, but I stuck to my principles. We don't play favorites.
I do feel kind of guilty, but he's declined alimony payments. He was always a proud man.
I let him move back in at first, but he didn't stay very long.
No, I got a job in some tiny little town as a liquor store cashier, where I rarely get recognized, and it's exactly what I wanted. I mean, I don't want to dredge up the past, and I've been saving up to pay off the fines, but every year it just seems like more and more get added to them.